Hey there everybody, Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter.
This video is our American Idol reaction to the end of Hollywood Week. We have officially made it through the dregs of Duet Night with all of the chaos. It's all out the window. You don't have to think about it anymore.
That's over. Now we're into the solo stuff where all the magic happened tonight.
There was a lot of magic tonight, and really, from here on out, it's great, because here on out, we don't have to worry about any of this, like, drama packaging, and we're actually getting a smaller group of people, so there's less of the, oh, who's that person? I still run into that here or there at this point.
Yeah, me too, but there are some familiar faces that we have been talking about since the get-go, and they were on tonight as well, and they really did well.
But we're going to talk in this video about kind of our collective 5 favorites from the night, because I have a feeling that these are all people who, you know, as long as there's justice in the American Idol world, we will continue to see all of them for however long this season lasts. But before we dive into talking about any of them, if you guys do like this video, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more American Idol stuff coming, and if you don't want to miss any of it, there we go. Just be sure to hit that notification bell.
I always find the end of this particular episode where they're like, oh, there's 3 rooms and one of you's not going to go through. And I'm just looking at the rooms and I'm like, if I'm in a room with Arthur Gunn and Francisco, I feel pretty confident that I'm going through. Like, you can kind of tell looking around who is going to be going through.
The only thing I will say is that when you're in high-pressure reality TV situations, all actual intelligence leaves your head. I remember when I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I suddenly forgot everything I once knew. You are speaking with logic, and yes, you are correct. They should know.
Yeah, no, I would just feel like if I was in a room and I looked over and Arthur was in my room, I'd be like, all right, this room isn't going anywhere. So speaking of Arthur, man, his performance tonight, he did CCR, he did the same song that he did before, but he completely changed the arrangement of it into something like I have never heard. It felt like a completely new song. It even felt he brought this song out of the 70s and into the modern era. He did it in such a way that the band couldn't even keep up with him, that it ended up being like, well, you guys can't keep up, so I'm gonna play my guitar. And it was so good. It was so good.
I loved it. I think it's the best performance of the night. I will say, when I first heard, oh, I'm gonna do Have You Ever Seen the Rain Again? I was really nervous, because it's sort of a general rule of mine that if you do a song, you cannot repeat the same song for at least like 3 or 4 performances.
And he basically didn't, because he made this his own. And that's what separates Arthur Gunn from everybody else in this competition. And I'm not just being, crazy about this. It really is. He is a true musician to be able to do what he did and change the arrangement like that, to a point that even like the house band who can play anything can't figure this out. Like, he's in a lane all his own. And if he doesn't win this show, then I don't know what is going on.
I hope that he wins the show. I'm just nervous only because there's a lot of American Idol still to go, and I remember without.
It's where I am.
I
can't help it. He's so good.
Arthur is my favorite. Arthur is by far my favorite at the moment. I mean, but I also will say Alejandro was by far my favorite last season, and it's kind of odd in a way that the way you watch Idol, that it almost looks as though Alejandro won last season with how many times they kind of mention him and bring him up. But
that's because he's amazing.
Yeah, it didn't end up happening. So I mean, sometimes surprises can happen here or there down the road.
Don't put that into the universe,
Arthur, I'm giving him something to fight for. I'm giving him the motivation that it's not all in the bag yet. Though I think, talent-wise, he's got a good chance of having it in the bag. But
oh yeah, like, even if he doesn't win this show, Arthur is going on to have a long career as a musician. There's no doubt in my mind about it. If he can do that when everyone, including him, sleep deprived, just like singing constantly, these horrible duets that were happening. I mean, and he can pull that off, then he's going to be easily a musician that's working forever.
I know that Idol, I think they're afraid of giving us too much goodness within a single episode because they did not give you Arthur. No Arthur performance last night. No Francisco really tonight. Didn't have much of a presence.
That sucked.
Well, he must have done well. I mean,
he
moved
did.
it.
He wasn't. I wasn't worried about him. That was the same as last night. We didn't get to see Arthur last night, but I was like, that if he went home, we would have seen it, and it was sort of the same feeling tonight. If Francisco went home, we were gonna know about it because he is really talented.
The next person I do want to talk about, because I feel like we have taken him for granted, and I feel like a lot of people are taking Jovin Webb for granted because he's so good every time.
Yes, he is.
And I think because he's kind of like legitimately super professional, like he actually does this, I think I just have this expectation in my head of, you know what, Jovin's going to come out and he's going to be great. And it doesn't surprise me, so I never get like that amped talking about it, but it's just listening to him do Parachute, and I think it's a Chris Stapleton song. It's not something I would originally kind of think he would do. It was just so fun, and I think what it is that so many people did ballads and kind of slow, emotional stuff. Here comes Jovin with his, like, I dug the, like, shirt-pant combo he had going on, too. He looked like he was just, like, leading like the world's most awesome like New Orleans band, and he's just like rocking out on stage. And it's, man, Jovin, man, I want to party with you.
No, he's so awesome because he did also come out and be like, listen, I'm going to do something sort of a little more upbeat. There are so many slow ballads that are very emotional, and that's awesome, but you don't get what Jovin gave us very often on this show or any singing shows. And I think you're right. I think we all end up sort of taking him for granted because we know he's going to come out and be amazing because he always is.
And I hope that Jovin does not get eliminated before the live shows, but I will say this, my fear is that they're going to just find some sort of excuse because they're going to take him for granted, and I really, really hope that does not happen.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Someone else who I think has kind of done really well throughout everything is Kimmy Gabriella, and you know what I really like about what Idol has done with her? Mm-hmm. You know, she's very young, but there's never this, oh, look how young you are sort of trope going on. And I feel like other singing shows that rhyme with the moist often try to emphasize that time and time again. It's like, yeah, we know they're young, but that it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're good. And she's out there doing, you know, I'm Here. She's doing a very theatrical song in a lot of ways, but she makes it into something that could work in kind of all different lanes. It's really mature. It sounds really, really strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. There's a lot of young singers on the show, and yes, there are other young singers on the Moist, since we're going there with that. And yeah, they do focus a lot more on it on other singing shows, and they don't here, and it's nice because it isn't about, oh, she's only this age or he's only this age. It shouldn't matter. Your voice is your voice, and it doesn't matter where you are in that whole, you know, in your singing career. And Kimmy is just really fantastic, and for a young age, she knows her voice very well. So I'm happy that she's still here and that she's going through. She deserves to be here.
Yeah. Absolutely she does, and I think there's just so much interesting like musical genre diversity in this group because, you know, we talk about Arthur, who I think is very folksy in a lot of ways, and he can do some rock and other stuff like that. And you have Kimmy, who I think is really versatile. Jovin,
she is
really versatile. Let's talk about your guy Dillon James, because I know you are a Dillon James fan, and I know you loved what he did.
Yeah, I really like him. I think he's a total package. I absolutely see him in the top 3, if not winning the show. He is one of the people that I think could win the show. His He's a good-looking guy. He's a nice guy. He's genuine. He's somebody who has a story that a lot of people can really relate to. And then throw on top of it that he's an excellent singer and that he can write his own stuff. And he really is the whole American Idol package. And what he did tonight, again, just continues to show that he really is the package.
I'll tell you a little bit of what Dillon sort of reminds me of with this performance. You know, growing up in Texas, every now and then you go to these like shows and they'll do these sort of songs about like ghost stories and stuff that are like kind of country but kind of Americana and Southern rock, and they're so like creepy and eerie and cool that you think like a ghost is actually going to come out and start dancing in the middle of it.
I see.
Like this was a dancing ghost performance if I have ever heard one. Like it was cool, it was kind of just gritty, it was kind of mean in a way, and I like how it was kind of mean in a way. It just had this like, I'm going to sing an urban legend to you and you're going to listen to it like 100 times over. Like, if this is Dillon's original music, I fully endorse this lane fully.
Yeah.
All right, so the last person that we'll talk about, and, you know, I will probably get her name right before the end of the season. I think it's Lauren Massetti. I keep wanting to call her Maschetti, which sounds like spaghetti. But anyway, she also had her own original, and this was her best performance of the season to me.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close. She, before tonight, I mean, she was someone that I was like, oh, yeah, she's a good singer, but she was, for me, getting a little bit lost in a sea of faces and gorgeous singers, and she was just like, oh, and here is another gorgeous singer. And then tonight, she sang God Made a Woman, and it completely changed my opinion of her. She wasn't just a beautiful voice in a sea of gorgeous voices. She is in her own lane now. This song was so good. And then, of course, there's like this connection with her Nana. And I'm a person who has a connection with my Nana, who's like the best person ever. So seeing that, I was like, oh, and now we have a Nana connection too. I like her so much.
Lauren has officially won over every American Idol fan who loves their Nana, which I feel like that's a pretty big demographic. I feel like you can go pretty far with that.
It's true, but some of us have that
exactly.
special connection with their Nana. I lived with my Nana for a little while, so, you know, Nana.
Yeah, I like this five. I like a lot. I mean, we couldn't even really talk about Francisco because we didn't see him. There's a lot of other people who I think were also really, really good in their own way. Louis, Genevieve, we saw a lot of good contenders tonight. We will be going to Hawaii next. I mean, they put it on screen so that everybody knew that this was filmed, I'm guessing, some time ago.
Yeah, it was. And then, you know, it was tough when you're watching, you know, people are getting these flower lays and everybody's screaming, and then here's poor Johnny West feeling bad for himself going forward. And I know it's difficult when you go on this show with someone else and they don't go through, and it's got to be hard for him, but it was really nice to see Margie being like, listen, like, you deserve this, you deserve to be here, enjoy, embrace your win. And I really hope he goes forward and embraces it, because I don't want to watch mopey Johnny West going to Hawaii. I don't want to feel bad for somebody who's going to Hawaii to win American Idol.
I will say this. I oddly got the most emotional I think I got this entire episode was because it felt for most of the season, no offense to Johnny, it felt like Margie actually kind of wanted it more. Like it did. And the way that she, like, just immediately after she was eliminated, just went to him and was just like, I support you, I'm all in on you. It's just like, Margie, I'm a bigger fan of you now just because you're like so supportive of this guy. Johnny, you got to get your stuff together. There are beaches there. There's good food.
Yeah, don't blow it, man. Margie is now the weight is rested on just you, of both of you.
Yeah.
So, you know, do it for yourself, do it for your woman, do it for us watching.
Yeah.
put on your flower lei, enjoy some good music and food, and stop moping.
Well, he's had time now to get over it, so hopefully he's good this weekend. But anyway,
he's got such a great voice.
I know.
I just want to see him do well. I kid you, Johnny.
Yeah, we still love you, but you know, you can still. I kind of hope that if he does make the live shows, Margie's still there, so it's like the story remains.
Yeah.
But anyway, let us know in the comments who you liked from tonight's American Idol, what you think we're gonna see, and who do you think is the favorite to win right now?
Arthur.
Let us know in the comments, and if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.